My name is Rafael Escoto. Welcome to La Vida in Atlanta. This is the Health and Wellness Show, renamed The Experience of Wholeness. Today, my guest brings a lot of contribution, wisdom, knowledge, experience, is serving for the last 8 years at Unity North. This is one of the leading church here in Atlanta. I have visited the church quite a few times, and I always enjoy so much. My guest today, Richard Burdick. Welcome.
Thank you, Rafael. It's a pleasure to be here.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Richard, I would ask you to define Unity North.
Define Unity North in 30 seconds or less.
Okay.
It is a spiritual community that is looking at raising the vibration at which the human race is operating. We do it one person at a time, individual at a time, teach principles that are life-changing, life-transformative, as a means of rising above the human experience to a place of spiritual truth.
Great.
Well, I'm reluctant to say what is lacking in the church. The Unity movement tends to do affirmative inquiry, what is working, and to spend our time on what is working rather than what isn't working. And certainly I can give you an answer in my own community, but I would be reluctant to say what's lacking in the religious movement of our country. And I believe what is working is an awakening that we are far more than we've ever even understood. That the master teachers and prophets and sages throughout time have worked very hard to awaken us to that which is naturally true about us, not just them. That all the spiritual masters have pointed us in the direction of going within. And so what I believe is working is the human race is moving away from what we call the five sensory world, church as we know it, which is very externally motivated. And we're finding an internal movement, an internal connection to the power and the presence of God that I believe is a holy awakening that's happening in our country and across the world.
Do you feel that some church are teaching fear to keep us going?
Fear is a wonderful motivating factor to get people to do what you would like them to do. And I have experienced firsthand movements and centers that are fear-based. They're getting you to tithe out of a place of fear. They're getting you to have a certain spiritual path out of a place of fear of punishment, retribution at some far-off time. The Unity movement says that fear is a part of our human experience. We're all going to have fear as part of being a human being. It's part of the lesson in this, what we call life school. But to be fear-driven causes more things to be fearful about, to be afraid about. Some people say, no pain, no gain. Unity says, no love, no gain. Let us turn within to find the sense of love, which is overcoming of fear. And so, as a human, you're going to be afraid of things, but when you can tap into the infinite presence of who you are, we would call it the Christ, love is the dominant energy.
Okay. It's meditation, self-reflection, praying, silence, quietness, stillness. Are these the salvation of human?
The short answer is absolutely yes. Unity has 5 basic principles. And the 4th principle is that the way to transcend the human condition, the way to overcome the fear, the way to transform your very life is through prayer. It's Unity principle number 4, that it is the most effective, highly activated mind action known to humanity. And if you want to know God, prayer and meditation is essential. If you want to know who you truly are, beyond the surface level, meditation is crucial to the spiritual path.
The time and space, the sensory experience, and all the imprisonments that are an illusion What has influenced that?
I believe we live in a culture, the Western mind in particular, is so externally motivated. We get more, we achieve more, and we begin to define ourselves by what we have, not who we are. We begin to define ourselves by what we do and not what we are, and not even who we are, because that's of the personality.
Yes.
The Christ of us is a what? Is an energy field. And I believe that we live in a culture that says the more you have, the more you are.
Right.
And I think that society as a whole leans that direction. It's a very competitive environment, which is pulling us farther and farther away from home. I would liken it to the prodigal son. The prodigal son left home to go make his mark and to spend his wealth, and realized at some level the wealth left him wanting. Anything of the five sensory world, because it is an illusion, as you've aptly put, will leave you wanting, and there will be a hole in your heart that cannot be fulfilled by the big house, by the big car, or the bank account, or the great job, or even the relationship. Eventually, we are all brought to our knees to return to a place of home that has no concern over how much money you make or how little you make. Is only concerned with the sense of oneness that comes with a relationship with the divine.
Yeah. If all these books, I would say,
there's so many
many books, are talking about that we are lost. That 95% to 99%, we've been hypnotized in this earth, and such as Eckhart Tolle, Planet Earth, Napoleon Hill, the Four Agreements, and many others. He said that we are looking to trying to find love, trying to find passion, trying to find purpose in life. And we're having difficulties in finding those things and questioning who is God? Who am I? Where am I going? I'm looking sometimes for an answer. So is my audience today. I would like to see, what is your view?
Well, all the authors that you've mentioned have done wonderful things in order to transform the planet. But they are tools, tools to point us towards something. They are not the tool themselves. They are not the experience itself. And the only way to know God is through experience. God is beyond language. God is beyond words in a book. Those are wonderful markers to help us face a certain direction and to live a certain life that will cultivate a greater awareness of God. But I think sometimes, again, in this culture, we've been so distracted by making the book itself the experience of God, the words themselves the experience of God, when they are nothing more than road signs to say, look this direction and now have the experience. The Buddha, for instance, spoke beautifully when he said, don't take my word for it, go have the experience. And I believe Eckhart Tolle and Don Miguel Ruiz, who wrote the Four Agreements, would tell you the same thing. Take my words and now go live them. And I believe to an extent, we here in the Western world have become spiritual junkies. We go from book to book to book, from workshop to workshop, from center to center, looking for an answer. But we make the answer localized. We put God localized in that book or in that teacher or teaching, when God is infinite in its scope and can only be experienced by direct revelation, not by somebody else's path. And so I would say, as a minister, is take these words, digest them, and see if it has nutrition for you, and have the direct experience of the meal as opposed to me spoon-feeding it for you.
Richard, there's an awakening of consciousness of mass proportion. Have been provoking examination, seeking for the truth, the meaningful truth to this life journey. When do you see that paradigm shift? taking place?
I would love to see that there was a moment in time where suddenly all was well and there was a great awakening. And that may happen at some point. But I believe the enlightenment and I believe that awakening is more of a process. And as I look back at humanity 100 years ago, we certainly have evolved greatly. I've certainly evolved in the last 10 years myself. And I believe that the collective is waking up and will continue to wake up in a very gradual process. And there's a line from A Few Good Men that says, the truth, you want the truth, you can't handle the truth. And I believe if there was an instantaneous awakening, we would not be able to handle it. The human mind would not have the container such to be able to handle it. So we do it in baby steps, in stepping stones. And each day, hopefully wake up a little more God revealed in our own hearts, in our interactions and in our relationships.
Richard, I would love to have you, to spend a day with you and get all these answers that most of us are looking for. Thank you very much, Richard, for giving us the time and answer those questions for us. My name is Rafael Escoto. I'm looking forward to see you at the event on June 26th. Thank you very much.